Be me, 34 years old woman. Scrolling through Instagram on a Tuesday morning while my oat milk latte gets cold. See a notification that makes my stomach drop. Aiden tagged in a photo. Hasn't posted anything in 6 months. I would know because I definitely don't check his profile regularly. Just occasionally when the algorithm shows me something completely random. Open the photo and there it is. Aiden holding a newborn baby, some woman next to him looking exhausted but glowing in that way I always told myself was a patriarchal myth. The caption reads, "Welcome to the world, little one, already so in love." Stare at my phone for what feels like an hour, but is probably 30 seconds. Feel this weird tightness in my chest that I immediately recognize as completely irrational. I didn't even want kids, I had made that clear from the beginning. Well, not from the very beginning, but definitely after 2 years, when he started making those comments about our future and building something together. I had explained very carefully and patiently that bringing children into this world was ethically questionable at best. Climate change, overpopulation, the inherent problems with nuclear family structures, the way motherhood is weaponized against women's autonomy and professional development. He had nodded, but I could see that look in his eyes. That same look my father used to give my mother when she talked about anything he considered too complicated. The patronizing half-smile that meant perfect, somewhere around age 15. Close Instagram and open my laptop to start work. I'm a freelance consultant for corporate diversity initiatives, actually doing important work, helping companies understand their implicit biases and structural inequalities. Today I'm supposed to finish a report on gender pay gaps for a tech startup, but I keep thinking about that photo. The way Aiden's hand was positioned on the baby's head, so careful and gentle. He never touched me like that. Well, he did, but that was different. That was when he was trying to convince me I was wrong about things. Always so gentle and patient, like I was something fragile that needed to be handled carefully. I had told him once that his gentleness felt condescending. He looked so confused, genuinely hurt. Said he was just trying to be considerate of my feelings. But that's exactly what they do, isn't it? Pretend that their performance of sensitivity is actual emotional intelligence, when really they're just waiting for you to fit into the box they've already built in their minds. Refresh Instagram again, even though I know I shouldn't. The post already has 247 likes. Scroll through the comments. Everyone congratulating him, saying he'll be an amazing father. His mother commented 3 times with different heart emojis. She never liked me. I could tell from the first time we met at that awkward brunch, the way she asked what I did, with this emphasis that suggested she already knew it wouldn't be good enough. When I explained my work in diversity consulting, she just nodded slowly, said, "That's nice, dear," and changed the subject to some casserole recipe. Aiden had insisted she was just nervous meeting me, but I knew better. She was threatened by a woman who didn't need her son to define herself. Stand up and walk to my window overlooking the street. Watch people rushing to wherever they're going, locked in their little routines. Relationships, marriages, babies, mortgages. The whole prescribed path that I had consciously rejected. Feel my eyes getting wet, which is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not crying about Aiden. I'm not crying about some life I supposedly missed out on. Probably just allergies or dehydration. Go to the bathroom and look at myself in the mirror. My face looks the same as always. Maybe a bit tired, but I've been working long hours. Notice a few more lines around my eyes. Character lines, evidence of a life lived on my own terms. Splash cold water on my face. Remember what my therapist said about sitting with uncomfortable feelings. Except my therapist doesn't understand that some feelings are just products of societal conditioning. Of course, seeing an ex with a baby would trigger something. Women are literally programmed from birth to respond to infant imagery. It's biological manipulation combined with cultural pressure. Doesn't mean the feelings are valid or worth examining. Go back to my laptop and try to focus on the pay gap data. The numbers are stark as always. Women earning 79 cents on the dollar. Even worse for women of color. This is what matters, actual systemic change, not some performance of domestic bliss on social media. But my mind keeps drifting back to the timeline of when Aiden must have met her. We broke up 16 months ago after that final fight, the one where he said I was being unreasonable about his friend's wedding. I had simply pointed out that I didn't feel comfortable participating in a ceremony that was rooted in property exchange, that marriage as an institution had historically been about men owning women. He said, I was overthinking it, that it was just 2 people in love. I said that was exactly the problem, the way patriarchy disguises itself as romance. He got quiet in that way he did when he was about to say something he thought I wouldn't like. Then he asked if I could ever just let people enjoy things without analyzing everything, as if my critical thinking was some kind of character flaw. as if being conscious of systems of oppression was ruining the fun. I told him that comfort was a privilege, that staying unconscious of these issues was a choice available only to those who benefited from them. He said he couldn't do this anymore. This being our relationship, apparently. Said he felt like he was constantly walking on eggshells, that he could never just be himself around me. I had pointed out that being himself meant not having to examine his privilege, meant defaulting to societal scripts without question. He packed a bag that night and stayed at his friend's place. We had one more conversation a week later to divide up our things. It was painfully civil. He didn't even argue when I said I should keep the coffee table since I had picked it out. Just nodded and took his boxes and left. I had felt relieved, honestly. Finally free from the emotional labor of constantly educating someone about basic concepts. So, if they got together shortly after that, which the timeline suggests, he must have already known her. Maybe she was waiting in the wings the whole time. Probably someone uncomplicated, someone who didn't challenge him. Someone who smiled and nodded and wanted the whole package. The ring, the mortgage, the baby, the carefully curated Instagram feed. Find myself hate scrolling through her profile now. Her name is Jennifer, of course it is. Her bio says, teacher, plant mom, grateful for every moment. Plant mom, like owning succulents, is a personality trait. Her photos are all soft-filtered sunlight and casual candids that definitely took 50 tries. There's one from what must be her baby shower. All these women in pastel dresses, sitting around doing what looks like games. The caption says something about being blessed by her village. Your village is a marketing term created by parenting blogs. I want to scream into the void. But instead, I close the app and open my messages. Text my friend Rachel, need drinks tonight. She responds immediately, everything okay? I type out, fine, just need to debrief some stuff. She sends back a thumbs up and suggests our usual wine bar at 7. Spend the rest of the afternoon trying to work, but mostly just refreshing various social media. Aiden has updated his profile picture to one with the baby. His relationship status changed to married. Married. They got married and I didn't even know. Not that I should know or care, but still. We were together for 4 years. 4 years of my life invested in someone who apparently could just move on and complete the entire relationship escalator with someone else in barely over a year. Feel angry at myself for feeling anything about this. I had made my choices consciously and deliberately. I had been clear about my boundaries and values. The fact that he found someone whose life goals align better with his is actually fine. It's good even, better than us staying together and being incompatible. So why does my chest feel like something is sitting on it? Why did I have to put on sunglasses earlier when I went to get more coffee from the place downstairs? Why did the barista ask if I was okay? And why did that simple question almost break me? Meet Rachel at the wine bar right at 7. She's already there with a bottle of red ordered. Gives me a hug that lasts a beat too long. Asks what's going on, and I tell her about the photo. She winces sympathetically. That's rough, I'm sorry. I wave my hand dismissively. It's fine, I'm fine. It just brought up some thoughts about relationship timelines and societal expectations. She pours wine into my glass. You're allowed to just feel sad about it, you know. I'm not sad, I'm processing. Right, processing, my bad. There's something in her tone that irritates me. Like she doesn't believe me or thinks I'm in denial. I genuinely didn't want that life, you know that, right? I know. The whole heteronormative script, it's not for me. I've been clear about that. Totally. She's doing that thing where she agrees too quickly. The way you agree with someone when you think they're being irrational but you don't want to argue. You don't believe me. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Your tone said it. Rachel sighs and takes a long sip of wine. Look, I just think maybe it's okay to acknowledge that seeing an ex move on can hurt even if you didn't want the same things. But it doesn't hurt. That's what I'm trying to explain. Okay. It's more like frustration at how quickly he was able to slot someone else into the role. Like I was just interchangeable, like any woman would have done as long as she was willing to play the part. Rachel nods more genuinely now. That makes sense. Exactly. It's not about wanting what he has. It's about the erasure of our actual relationship. Like those 4 years didn't matter because I didn't give him what he ultimately wanted. Talking about it this way feels better, more analytical. Less like I'm a woman crying over an ex, and more like I'm critiquing relationship structures. We drink the whole bottle and order another. Rachel tells me about her own dating disasters. The guy who seemed normal until the third date when he explained his cryptocurrency investment strategy. We laugh, and the tightness in my chest loosens slightly. Stumble home around 11 feeling buzzed and tired. Check my phone and see that Aiden's photo now has over 400 likes. Someone commented, "You two make such beautiful parents." You two, like they're a unit now, a team. Like everything we built together was just a rough draft. I fall asleep with my phone in my hand and have dreams I won't remember clearly in the morning. Wake up Thursday with a headache and a sense of determination. Decide I need to do something productive, something that reaffirms my choices. Sign up for a weekend workshop on intersectional activism. Update my own Instagram with a photo of my loft in the morning light. Caption it, something about choosing authenticity over convention. Get a few likes from the usual people. My cousin comments, love your space. It feels hollow compared to the outpouring on Aiden's post, but that's just because baby photos perform better algorithmically. People are programmed to respond to infant imagery. It's documented. Spend the day working on my report with renewed focus. The pay gap data is damning as usual. Women lose earning potential when they have children. The motherhood penalty is real and quantifiable. This is exactly why my choices make sense. I've protected my career, my autonomy, my financial independence. In 10 years, when Jennifer is struggling to re-enter the workforce after staying home with kids, I'll be at the height of my career with a robust retirement account. This thought should make me feel better, but somehow it doesn't. Friday afternoon, my mother calls. I almost don't answer because I know somehow she'll have seen. Mothers have a sixth sense for when their daughters are vulnerable. But I pick up on the fourth ring. Hi, Mom. We want to. Hi, sweetheart. How are you? The emphasis on the R gives it away. She knows. I'm great, busy with work. That's good. Long pause. I saw on Facebook that Aiden had a baby. Of course she did. My mother, who claims not to understand social media, somehow always sees everything. Yeah, good for him. Are you okay? Why does everyone keep asking me that? I'm completely fine. I didn't want children, remember. This is actually validating of my choice to end that relationship. Of course. Another pause. You know, sweetheart, it's never too late if you change your mind. I'm not going to change my mind. You have plenty of time still. I don't want time. I want people to respect my decision. I do respect it. I just want you to be happy. I am happy. Are you? That question sits between us like a living thing. Yes, Mom, I'm happy. I have a career I care about and freedom and a nice apartment. Those are all wonderful things. But those are wonderful things. I can hear something in her voice, though. The same disappointment that's been there since I was 25 and started being honest about not wanting kids. The same quiet grief over grandchildren she might not get. Never mind that my brother has 3 kids. It's different when it's your daughter, apparently. Get off the phone after a few more minutes of strained pleasantries. Feel angry at her for making me defend myself. Angry at Aiden for creating this situation. Angry at Jennifer for existing. Angry at myself for caring at all. The weekend workshop is actually helpful. Surrounded by other people committed to social change. We do exercises about recognizing bias and dismantling internalized oppression. During a breakout session about relationship structures, someone mentions compulsory heterosexuality, how women are socialized from birth to want marriage and babies, how we're taught our value comes from being chosen by men. This resonates deeply. Maybe what I'm feeling isn't actually about Aiden at all. Maybe it's just years of conditioning trying to make me feel bad for not following the script. Share this insight with the group and get supportive nods. The facilitator says unlearning patriarchy is a lifelong process. Feel validated and seen. Leave the workshop Sunday evening feeling recharged. Until I get home and see that someone I vaguely know commented on my Instagram post. Your place looks amazing. I never have time to keep my apartment nice with the kids, lol. The implication being that my nice apartment is consolation prize for not having children. Like I've decorated the cage I've trapped myself in. Don't respond. Just close the app. Monday morning, decide I need to take action. Not about Aiden specifically, but about my life in general. Clearly, I've been stagnating if an ex's life choices can affect me this much. Update my dating profiles with fresh photos. Adjust my bio to be more clear about what I'm looking for. Seeking emotionally intelligent partner for conscious relationship building. No interest in traditional escalators. Start swiping with renewed purpose. Match with a guy named Nathan who lists hiking and philosophy as interests. His profile says he's child-free by choice. Perfect. We message back and forth and he seems promising. Makes a joke about Camus that's actually funny. Asks thoughtful questions about my work. We make plans to meet Wednesday for coffee. Spend Tuesday preparing, both practically and mentally. This is good. This is moving forward. This is proof that my life is full of possibility. Meet Nathan at the coffee place, and he looks like his photos, which is always a relief. We get drinks and find a table in the corner. Conversation flows easily at first. He asks about my consulting work and seems genuinely interested. I ask about his job in software development. Then somehow we get onto the topic of relationships. He mentions his last girlfriend wanted to get married and he didn't. I just don't see the point of a legal contract to validate feelings, he says. I nod enthusiastically. Exactly. Marriage is such an outdated institution. Right, plus divorce is expensive, he laughs. Something about the way he says it feels off. Like his objection is purely financial rather than philosophical. But I continue. And the whole wedding industry is just capitalist exploitation of romantic ideals. He looks at me blankly for a second. Sure, I guess, I just think it's a waste of money. We move on to other topics, but I'm starting to notice things. The way he interrupts me mid-sentence. How when I mention a book I've read, he immediately talks about a different book he thinks is better. When I bring up a documentary about climate change, he says he doesn't really follow that stuff. It's all probably exaggerated anyway. You know how the media is. Feel my enthusiasm deflating like a sad balloon. He asks if I want to get dinner sometime. I say I'll check my schedule and get back to him. We both know I won't. Walk home feeling discouraged. Why is it so hard to find someone who actually aligns with my values? Who thinks critically about structures and systems? Who doesn't just reject marriage because commitment scares him? Check Instagram out of habit and see Jennifer has posted again. A photo of the baby sleeping on Aiden's chest. Caption reads, "My two favorite people in the whole world." Aiden commented with heart emojis. His friends are all commenting about how he's winning at life. Winning. As if life is a competition and he's scored points by reproducing. As if there's one correct path and everyone else is losing. Feel tears starting again, which is absolutely absurd. I don't want what he has. I don't want a baby or a marriage or a Jennifer. I want someone who sees me as a complete person. Not as a potential mother or wife, but as myself. But also maybe I want someone who looks at me the way Aiden is looking at that baby in the photo. With complete unguarded love and certainty. He never looked at me like that. Or maybe he did and I was too busy analyzing it to notice. No, that's not fair to myself. I was protecting myself from falling into patterns. From becoming another woman who loses herself in a relationship. My phone buzzes with a text from Rachel. How was the date? I type back, he was a libertarian in disguise. She sends a laughing emoji and, there's someone out there for you. But what if there isn't? What if my specific combination of needs and boundaries is too particular? What if being conscious and critical means being alone? Spend the rest of the week in a fog. Go through the motions of work. Finish the pay gap report and submit it. The startup CEO responds with great work, very eye-opening. But I know nothing will fundamentally change. They'll maybe adjust some salaries slightly. Create a women's networking group that meets during lunch. Put out a statement about their commitment to equality. And the underlying structures will remain exactly the same. Just like how dating apps let me filter for values but can't actually change how people think. Just like how my workshop on intersectionality was inspiring but won't dismantle patriarchy. Just like how my choices protect me from some things but not from others. Friday night I do something I know I shouldn't. Pour myself a large glass of wine, open Instagram, and really look through Aiden's profile. Scroll back through months and months of posts. Trying to pinpoint when he met Jennifer. There's a photo from 14 months ago at someone's barbecue. Jennifer is barely visible in the background, but I recognize her from her profile. So they definitely knew each other while we were still together. Or right after we broke up. Another photo from a few weeks later, a group hiking trip. She's more prominent now, standing next to Aiden. His arm isn't around her, but they're close. The comments are all about the view and the weather. Nothing suggesting anything romantic yet. Then a month later, their first photo together alone, at a farmer's market, both holding coffee cups. Caption is just a simple, Sunday mornings. The comments are more knowing. His friends saying things like cute and about time. About time. Like they were all waiting for him to find someone appropriate. Someone who would give him what he wanted. Keep scrolling through their relationship developing in photo form. Fall photos with pumpkins. Holiday photos with families. A New Year's Eve kiss at midnight. Valentine's Day dinner at some restaurant with candles. Then a photo of her hand with a ring. Caption, she said yes. Posted 6 months ago. I had been at that work conference in Portland. Had actually been having a good time, networking and attending panels. While Aiden was proposing to someone he'd known for less than a year. Photos from a small wedding, just family and close friends. Jennifer in a simple dress, Aiden in a nice suit. Both looking absurdly happy. Then scattered photos over the following months. Her pregnancy announcement with a pair of tiny shoes. Gender reveal with blue confetti. Baby shower I already saw. And finally, the baby himself, tiny and wrinkled and apparently perfect. Close my laptop and finish my wine. Pour another glass. Sit in my carefully decorated loft, surrounded by thriving plants and vintage furniture. Everything chosen by me, arranged to my specifications. A space that is entirely mine, with no compromises. Exactly what I wanted. So, why does it feel like a museum right now? Why does it feel like I'm a visitor in my own life? My phone lights up with a notification. A dating app match has messaged me. Open it without much hope. Hey beautiful, you seem cool, wanna chat? The lowercase, the generic compliment, the lack of effort. Unmatch immediately. Think about Aiden typing out captions for baby photos. Probably overthinking every word, asking Jennifer if it sounds okay. The two of them laughing about how many photos they took to get the right one. Building something together, even if it's just a social media narrative. I had always mocked that kind of thing. The performance of relationships online. The carefully curated glimpses of happiness. But maybe there was something real underneath. Maybe the performance and the reality weren't mutually exclusive. Maybe I had been so busy deconstructing everything that I missed the actual construction. No, that's the wine thinking. I made the right choices for me. I didn't want to be someone's wife or someone's mother. I wanted to be myself, complete and autonomous. And I am. I'm exactly what I wanted to be. Sit with that thought as the wine settles warm in my stomach. I'm exactly what I wanted to be. So why am I crying? Why have I been crying on and off for a week over someone else's life? Someone else's choices that have nothing to do with me. Stand up and walk to the mirror again. Look at my face, blotchy now from wine and tears. 34 years old. Successful career. Nice apartment. Good friends. Clear values and boundaries. Everything I'm supposed to want. Everything I convinced myself I wanted. But standing here alone at 9 p.m. on a Friday night, looking at my reflection while my ex holds his newborn baby, I can't help but wonder if I outsmarted myself. If all my analysis and deconstruction and critical thinking was just elaborate protection against wanting something I was afraid I couldn't have, or wouldn't be good at, or would lose myself in. My phone buzzes again, probably another generic dating app message. But when I check, it's actually an email. The tech startup CEO following up on my report. Thanks again for this work. We'd like to discuss having you consult on our parental leave policy. Parental leave policy. The irony almost makes me laugh. Me, the woman who doesn't want children, consulting on parental leave. Me, who just spent a week crying over an ex's baby. Me, who can explain the structural problems with every relationship milestone, but can't figure out why I feel so hollow. Close my email and open Instagram one more time. Aiden has posted a new photo, the baby gripping his finger. Caption reads, "Didn't know I could love like this." And there it is, the thing I've been avoiding all week. He didn't know he could love like that. Which means he didn't love like that before. Which means he didn't love me like that. And maybe I didn't love him like that either. Maybe I loved the idea of consciously choosing a partnership. Loved proving I could maintain my identity in a relationship. Loved being the one with clearer boundaries and stronger analysis. But did I actually love him, the person, Aiden? Or was he just playing a role in my narrative the way I accused Jennifer of doing in his? Sit back down on my couch. The wine is almost gone. My loft is quiet and clean and utterly mine, everything in its place. Everything chosen deliberately. Everything except the feeling in my chest that wasn't chosen. That's just there, unwanted and unanalyzed. The feeling that maybe I was so busy being right, that I forgot to be happy. Or maybe I never knew how. Maybe my critical thinking was just armor, and I wore it so well that I convinced everyone, including myself, that I didn't need anything underneath. The last thing I see before finishing the wine and going to bed is Aiden's comment on his own photo. Everything makes sense now, and I hate that I know exactly what he means. And I hate that I'm not sure it will ever make sense for me. And I hate that I spent so much time being sure about everything, that I never left room for doubt, or growth, or change, or love that doesn't need to be deconstructed to be real. Fall asleep on the couch, wake up Saturday morning with a headache, and my phone dead. The plants are still thriving. The loft is still beautiful. I'm still right about everything, and I've never felt more alone, Spend the weekend doing exactly what I want. Brunch at my favorite place. New bookstore that opened downtown. Yoga class. Sunday morning. All of it perfect. All of it exactly my choice. All of it feeling like I'm playing a part I wrote for myself, and I'm the only one watching. Monday morning, start my work week. New client wants to discuss bias in their hiring practices. I put together a presentation about structural inequality, about how systems perpetuate themselves, about how we all play roles without questioning them. Midway through writing it, I have to stop, because I realize I'm describing myself. I've built a structure around my life, told myself a story about autonomy and consciousness, and played a role I thought was authentic. But maybe it was just another script, just one I felt superior about following. Maybe the real trap wasn't marriage, or babies, or conventional relationships. Maybe it was believing I was too smart to be trapped at all. Maybe Aiden wasn't manipulative or unconscious or patriarchal. Maybe he was just a person who wanted different things, and I made him into a symbol of everything I was rejecting. And maybe Jennifer isn't vapid or conventional or playing a role. Maybe she just wanted what she wanted without apologizing, without needing it to be politically perfect, without turning every choice into a referendum on feminism. Sit at my laptop for a long time, cursor blinking on an unfinished presentation. My coffee getting cold again like it always does. Outside my window, people are living their lives, making choices I would critique, probably happy anyway, probably not even thinking about whether their happiness is structurally sound. Get up and water my plants, even though they don't need it yet. Need something to do with my hands. Notice one of them is finally flowering, a small purple bloom I wasn't expecting. I've had this plant for 3 years and it's never flowered before. Look it up, and apparently they only flower when conditions are exactly right. Temperature, light, water, everything in perfect balance. And even then, it's not guaranteed. Even then, it might not happen. Stare at this small purple flower for longer than makes sense, thinking about how I've optimized every condition in my life, created the perfect environment for growth, done everything right according to my own measures, and somehow still ended up here. Alone on a Monday morning, crying over an ex's baby, envying a woman I've never met, feeling like I outsmarted myself into a corner. The flower doesn't have answers. It's just a flower. It bloomed because conditions aligned, not because it tried to or deserved to, not because it deconstructed the process, just because that's what flowers do when everything lines up. Close my laptop. Text my therapist asking if she has any openings this week. She responds that she can see me Wednesday. I book it. I don't know what I'll say yet. Probably need to start with, I think I've been wrong about some things. Probably need to admit that being right isn't the same as being happy. That analyzing everything doesn't protect you from feeling things. That maybe my ex isn't the villain in this story. And maybe I'm not the hero. Maybe we're just two people who wanted different things. And he found someone who wanted the same things. And I'm still here, still sure I'm right, still alone. Still looking at a purple flower like it holds secrets. Still trying to think my way out of feeling. My phone buzzes. Another email from another client. Another opportunity to explain structural problems to people. Another chance to be right about systemic issues. Another day of doing work that matters. In theory. Open my laptop back up. Finish the presentation. It's good, thorough, well-researched. Everything I do is good and thorough and well-researched, including the life I built, including the choices I made, including the reasons I gave for everything. All of it makes perfect sense. On paper, in presentations, in arguments I've won. Just not here. Not in my chest where that tightness hasn't gone away. Not in my loft on Friday nights. Not when I see what other people have built. Even if I've deconstructed why they shouldn't want it. Send the presentation off. The client will probably be impressed. They usually are. I'm very good at explaining how things are broken. Perhaps less good at building things that work. Look at the purple flower again. It's already starting to wilt. Apparently they only last a few days. All that time waiting for the right conditions. All that careful balance. And the bloom is temporary anyway. Seems about right.